Welcome, welcome. We got Vaughan, Oakville, Kitchener. We got Mwadhina, Akawa in Manitoba. We've got a few others in Toronto here. We got Ali in Niagara. Hey, Ali, nice to see you. Port Perry. So we're like all over, Kory.
Super cool. That's the amazing thing with technology. If you would have told me like 20, 30 years ago, we'd be broadcasting all across North America this easily. Well, maybe not easily today, but literally from just like a regular laptop or phone, and I wouldn't really believe you, but pretty cool what we can do.
Absolutely. Okay, now you got to help me out. George and Caitlin are in Greektown in the Big Smoke. Okay, where's the Big Smoke? I don't know that one. Do you know, Kory? No?
Not
All
sure.
right. Well, they'll type it in and let us know. Awesome. So if you guys didn't see at the bottom of your screens here, we've got a ticker. It's called a ticker that's kind of running along the bottom. If you know anybody who needs help sticking to their goals and they struggle a little bit, feel free to share the link that you see in your browser and share that with your friends, or even put it on your social media if you want, because this is going to be really, really killer for people. So you can share the link and just do this with your friends too. So it's kind of fun. All right, Kory, I'm going to throw it to you to kick us off here.
Okay. Hopefully you guys are ready for our presentation here. Let me try to get this going best we can. So
yeah, bear with us, guys, as we learn this. Oh, look at that beautiful city of Toronto. Did you see that? That was awesome. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys, here we go.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yep, Thrive in 25. So effective goal setting for success. Whoop, whoop. Let's do this.
All right, everybody, just a big, big congratulations for showing up tonight. People are obviously taking their real estate investing, their personal development, whatever you want to define it as tonight, very seriously. And I'm a big believer, and so is Danielle, that education separates the sophisticated investor from the average investor. And then taking action is the difference between even a person who's educated and someone who's going to actually have that true wisdom and that true wealth at the end of the day. So congrats for making the time tonight. 93, I heard a stat today, 93% of people, don't watch replays, which is crazy because we're just getting replayed to death these days. So you're here, you're live. Let's make the most of tonight. So, thriving in 2025, it's all about setting goals for success. And again, we just wanted to welcome you. And it's always a very good best practice to make sure that you do a recap of 2024. So we're jumping right in here. Welcome everybody to the call if you're just joining us right now. But break out your pen and paper. I like just old school physical writing of things. It's amazing when you involve more senses into your learning. It just goes a lot deeper and you will actually get more out of it. Studies have shown if you can involve more than one sense into your learning, like not just visual, but tactile, and then even like speaking out. If you guys want to talk to yourself tonight, you can by all means. But think of these questions here. All right, we're going to be going fast tonight, so if you want to screenshot some of these, so you can actually finish them up later. But just get ready to brainstorm and do a brain dump onto your paper. But what did you take on last year that challenged you in 2024? 2024 was a year of challenge for sure. Interest rates finally started coming down, but it takes a while to feel the benefit of those. What were your biggest lessons in 2024? We either win or we learn. There's no win and lose, okay? I'm sure there's a lot of lessons, no matter what age you are, that you would have taken away in 2024. But don't diminish what went well. Like, lots of times we beat ourselves up because we didn't get all the way to the big maybe goal. But if you got 95% of the way there, turn around, look backwards, and see all the growth that you've experienced over the course of the year. What went well? Okay. What went well? As human beings, we're so focused on what didn't go well. What are the inconsistencies? What's missing, right? That's our primal brain kicking in, right? That's our survival mode. We don't have to worry about saber-toothed tigers anymore and where our next meal is coming from for the most part. So train your brain to look for what's going well. So what went well last year? Make a huge list And yes, there's always going to be challenges, but what went well? What could you have improved on? And keep in mind that if it was out of your control, then don't focus as much on that. There were definitely things with policy, with government, with interest rates, with banks, with lending, with their policies that we can't really influence. Okay, we're just one person out of 40 some odd million here in Canada. All right. What was within your control? Because what's within your control, you have 110% control over. And then did you evolve through the process? Or did you let 2024 crush you? Hopefully not. I don't think people that are here on this call, well, you never know. People might be really challenged and they're looking for a new start, fresh beginning. So here's our recap questions of the day.
I'd love to see in the comments, guys, like what were the challenges you had in 2024 was a really tough year. It was a really tough year for a lot of people, ourselves included. And it was rough. It was really rough. Like we thought 22, 23 was getting there. But 24 was really kind of peaking for people. And we would love if you can share in the comments, like, what is it that you guys struggled with in 2024 that is going to maybe change what is going to impact your goal or influence the goals that you're going to choose for 2025. So what is it, looking at these questions here, what is it that has changed how you think about how you do your business? Because, for example, there's a lot of businesses that were running what we call heavy. It was running a little bit fat, and you got to trim the fat. You had to go lean. In 2022, when the debt servicing started going up and everybody's debts that they were carrying were going up, it was taking away from the bottom line, and then the revenues started drying up. So that started hurting the bottom line. And so there was a lot of trimming of the fat. And so, what was it, if you're in business, what was it that happened that impacted you on how you're changing your goals? Another thing is talking about tenants. So George, and by the way, George, thank you for telling me that was Toronto, because I would have had to have gone to sleep and lost sleep over that. But Greektown in the Big Smoke is Toronto. But yeah, losing what you just said here, losing a tenant who struggled with selling a property, right? JV partnership problems, all kinds of tenant problems. A lot of people have had to sell and couldn't sell their properties. So there's been a lot of things that have happened over 2024 that is really challenging. But the nice thing about those challenges is it makes you think about how you're going to change things in the future. What are you going to do different in the future? And that's why we want you to reflect on 2024. Okay. Think about what went wrong so you can start making changes to do a course correct. Right, Kory?
For sure. And I think, I know you had a podcast with Danielle, I believe it was in the end of the summer, right? He said that, 2024, getting into Q3, we'd been seeing pain for a while, but the despair was just starting to happen, right? So I think we were just hitting peak pain here in 2024. And now it's going to be, I'm very optimistic about 2025 myself personally. I'm used to weathering storms like this. I've seen my parents go through this. I've never had to do this myself. It's definitely been trying and testing, for sure, the best of us here. And people that win the game are the ones that can hang on the longest, for sure. So let's get a little bit into the purpose of the webinar here. So we want to show everybody here tonight just a different approach, a more unique way, and also a simple way to break down your goals so that you actually will be able to achieve them in 2025. Goals can be very daunting and overwhelming because I don't know about you, but throw something in the chat if you like to think big, if you like to set big goals and to work really hard at them. And then the challenge with that is that they can be very overwhelming. We get caught up in everyday life. We get busy. We have kids. We have family. We have, work commitments. We have our side hustles, which a lot of people are doing real estate as a side hustle. And then, all those things get higher importance than the actual goal of growing. Right. So we want to give you a simple, easy way so that you can actually stay focused, stay on track, have that clarity, have that commitment. And then as well, offer up things like our network, support, anything that you might need to help get you to the finish line, because it's just so fulfilling when you can actually achieve a big goal that you set at the end of the year. All right. And the stats are unfortunately stacked against us. So we're going to reverse engineer our goals today. And planning is extremely important. And just look at these stats here. 23% of people start to abandon a goal within a week. I used to be in the gym industry when I was in college, and just seeing like our best sales were always in January. And then like February, March, like the gym was like crickets. So again, but 36% may or may not continue after the first month. By the end of the year, though, like the number is very low. As little as 9% of people will actually achieve their New Year's resolution. So do you want to be one of the 9 out of 100, or do you want to be one of those 91 that don't? Okay, let's build a plan together tonight to actually have success in 2025. So we're going to cover our planning methodology here for 2025. And these are the 3 main steps. Okay, we want to keep it really simple so people can remember this even in your sleep. If I woke you up a week from now and said, hey, what were the 3 Ds that we covered on our goal planning webinar? We want you to just remember: dream and dream big, design, and then do. And there's going to be lots of steps, in each one of these 3 here. But just because it's simple, don't mistake simplicity for something that's not going to get you to the finish line. Okay. But I'm a big believer of dreaming, and I love to surround myself with people that are big dreamers, because sometimes even I don't dream big enough. Designing. You can have whatever you want in life if you actually have a strong enough plan, if you have the right design, and you have enough emotional juice behind it that's going to get you to the finish line. And then obviously doing, right? We need to execute, because execution is where the rubber meets the road. That's where I think I've heard a quote where I'd rather have an idiot that's executing than the smartest person in the room that never gets past their initial planning stage, right? So execution, iteration, adapting, pivoting, whatever it takes to actually get things out the other side is so important. So Danielle, any comments here?
Yeah, essentially, guys, if you have, and we call it dream here because it is goal setting, but if you have a goal without a plan, it's just a dream, right? And so the plan is what's going to help you implement. If you don't implement what you want to do, obviously, if you're not taking action, you're not going to get there, and all you're doing is dreaming. And so for those of you who want to actually, and by the way, I think it's every single one of you on this call who are action takers, and you do take those dreams, turn them into goals, and make them success. So because you're here, that's how I know, because you're here. It's everybody else who is, sleeping off their hangover from yesterday, trying to get back into the work week, that are maybe on vacation. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. There's nothing wrong with downtime, but you have to learn to balance it. And you guys are here and you're taking action. So doing the action is what's going to get you the success, because without the action, you're never going to achieve your goals. And that all you ultimately end up doing is dreaming.
Yes. All right, so let's start ripping through these slides here, because we got some bonuses for you guys. We actually have a little survey that we want to go through, and hopefully everybody has that pen and paper ready to go so we can start moving fast. So again, the purpose of the presentation to break those goals down into these different methodologies here. Okay, we're going to make sure that we have a really clear goal. So many people aren't clear and specific with their goal of what they want, or it's not smart. Breaking it down into projects, phases, also known as milestones. I kind of like milestones a little bit better. And then tasks, okay, or even subtasks. So a lot of people just go throw out a big goal and then, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to get started, right? How many times have we said that, or have we heard that? I don't even know where to get started. And again, if you have the right methodology and the right sequence, anything is possible. So let's start to dive in here. A little bit about us here, everybody. I'm a seasoned real estate investor with over 19 years of experience doing lots of different strategies here, from multifamily development, conversions, self-storage, and love to bring people together in networks, having educational events and coaching programs to really support networks like this. So I appreciate everybody who showed up today. Maybe you're from a mailing list of either myself or Danielle's. You've been to one of our past events, and we just really appreciate you supporting what we like to get out there into the universe and help people. It's really our life mission to make sure that people don't need to struggle more than they have to be able to have their financial freedom in life, right? So Danielle, a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, I've been investing for 20, I hate to say that. Every time I say it, I'm trying to get over it, but 20 years now, guys. It's been a while, and the first 10 years actually was really amateur in the way that I thought I was doing everything the right way, and I thought I was doing great, but I was really just a landlord. And I just bought properties and I was renting them out, and I thought I had it all figured out until I decided to educate myself. And then that's when I went from being an amateur investor to a sophisticated investor. Because once I started investing into myself and into my education, by the way, when you invest in yourself, you don't get to undo it. I call it taking the blinders off, right? Then you know what's out there and what the possibilities truly are. And I haven't looked back since. So the last 10 years of my life has been as a sophisticated investor, been doing it full time and absolutely loving it. And one of the things that we really enjoyed too is sharing and pouring into the community and helping others take off those blinders and see what the possibilities are. So that's where both Kory and I separately had built coaching programs and our own coaching businesses, but now we've decided to join forces because we were such in alignment. And now I have dedicated my life, instead of doing one-to-one coaching, to doing one-to-many. And Kory and I are like in this together, and this is why we're here pouring into you guys, because we know we can make a bigger impact than just buying real estate. You know, that yes, it's great, it impacts our families, our future, and then we're taken care of, but now we're ready to pour into the world, and that's what we're doing now. So very excited about that. On a personal note, I'm a mother of 3 kids. They're great kids. They do me proud every day, and they make me look like a great mom because they're just so freaking great. And yeah, from the East Coast, and I live in Ontario now. And I'm excited to pour into you guys tonight.
I think that's a great evolution there, Danielle, that you mentioned, because, you know, once we take care of ourselves, then we can go and take care of other people. And that's something I was really excited about. You know, through real estate, was able to make sure that all my expenses were taken care of. Then I started taking care of my immediate family, and then my extended family, and then smaller networks and bigger networks, and more people across the country, across North America. So I hope everybody on this call gets a chance to do something similar. A little bit of an etiquette here when it comes to webinars. We've all been on lots of webinars here, but if you really want to get a great return on this webinar, be present. All right. When you're splitting your focus and you're trying to multitask and you're driving and I'd rather have somebody here who's listening as they're multitasking than not, because I said 93% of people may not watch a replay, but the more present you can be, you know, get into a quiet area and actually do the work, right? Actually do the exercises that we're going to be talking about tonight. Close other websites and distractions, and don't be afraid to ask questions, be interactive in the chat. I can't see the chat right now, but Danielle can, I hope.
Yes, I can.
We're going to keep going here for sure, because I think you have different access here. But all of our presentations have this disclaimer here, folks. It's very important to make sure that you're always seeking legal and professional advice, because we're not lawyers, accountants, appraisers, economists, or anything out of the ordinary. All right, this is for informational and educational purposes only. Your situation is different than the next person on this call, and we can only scratch the surface in the 60 minutes. I'm going to say 75 minutes because we always go over time. Just setting expectations here, and we started late. So grab your festive drink if you still have some kicking around, along with that pen and paper, and let's go. All right, so we're going to do that first step. All right, the first step of the 3 Ds is to dream, and that's defining your goals and setting really clear goals. All right, so what are your top 3 goals for 2025? What are the big ones that are going to take you, a good 8 to 12 months of runway to hit? And I think it's important to think big, but just keep in mind, sometimes people think so big that it's not even achievable also, right? So don't think so big that you can't ever get there, and then it was just something that you like to talk to your friends when you're out, socializing. Think of something that you've done before in the past and then level it up to another level so that you do actually stretch and grow. But sometimes when you're trying to stretch and grow by like 10x in 1 year, you don't have the team behind you. I'm not trying to discourage anybody here on the call, but when we talk about SMART goals, it does have to be relevant to you, and it has to be attainable in that 12-month period. So where do you want to be by the end of 2025? Let's actually get some emotional juice here flowing. Where do you want to be by the end of the year? So if we were on the same webinar 12 months from now, or 12 months less a few days, what would success look like for you? A lot of people know what they don't want to happen to themselves, but they don't always spend the time to actually visualize, what do I really want? What do I want? Why do I want it? Are two great questions that I always ask myself. How would it feel when you achieve that? Take a moment to actually embrace that. Is it going to be exciting? Is it going to fill you with joy? Is it going to give you pride? Even write down some emotions that would happen if you were to hit some of these 3 goals that you're writing down. What's the ideal outcome that's going to come out of hitting that goal? And I got to tell you that goals need to be written down. They need to be front and center. You can't just write them down. I mean, you're way more ahead of the pack by writing your goals and tucking them away in your journal and not seeing them again, because your subconscious and your reticular activating system is going to get to work. If you don't know what the RAS is, go and look it up. But they're going to get to work, 24/7 while you're asleep, while you're awake, trying to find the pieces that are going to get you to those goals, whether they're front and center or not. But your goals will dramatically increase if they're posted on your mirror, on the back of your, the door that you leave every single day. Some people even put a sticky note in their car, and actually acknowledge them on a daily basis. Don't just let them fade into the furniture or into the paint. All right. You have to actually see them, acknowledge them as if they were new, and it's the first time you're seeing them on a regular basis. So a lot of people don't do these steps. Okay. They don't actually get emotional about it. They don't feel it in their body. And that is a miss. But they don't teach us this in school. We're even lucky if we do any goal setting in school. But we're different. We're all a little bit, we're obviously different. We're a little bit freaks here on this call. We're super achievers. And if anybody gets one thing from this webinar today, it's to actually get a little bit emotional about your goals. All right. So once you have your 3 goals written down, focus on the top 2. Okay. And because you can only focus on so many things, focus on the top 1 or 2, and let's actually make it SMART. And I'm sure people have heard of the SMART acronym, but if you haven't heard of it before, this is what it stands for. Your goals need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and have a time or a deadline attached to them. Okay. There's reasons for all these different things. So if they're not specific, if your goals are really general, you're going to get general results. And I don't know about you, but I want specific results that I'm actually going to hit the target on. Okay. And everybody can hit a target if they know what the target is and where the bows and where the arrows are. And if you actually get a little bit of target practice. Okay. So if you're just shooting into the dark, it's not going to help you. But when you can turn on those light bulbs and you actually are very specific and very clear with what you want, real estate can be a very foggy, very shiny, lots of different, it's almost like a buffet. The sea is your, the sea is your, or the world's your oyster, right? So it's what am I actually doing? So really get specific with what you want. You need to be able to measure it, even if it's just a feeling or if it's an improvement that you want to make, with mood and behavior and different things that can actually be quantified. So you do need to be able to measure things. It's got to be achievable, like we talked about earlier, and relevant to you. R does not stand for realistic. It stands for relevant. Is it relevant? And then time, with a time deadline. Parkinson's law. The task will expand to the amount of time given to the task. So if you give yourself 5 years to hit a goal versus 1 year to hit the goal, one of my favorite quotes is, don't change the goal, increase the effort. All right. It's amazing what can be accomplished when you try to compress timelines and deadlines. And surrounding yourself with the right team, with the right network, with the right people can definitely help. It's so important to make them SMART. So now that we've got your SMART goal here, we've even thrown some examples up on the screen. So I want to purchase and close on a 5-plex apartment building in London, Ontario by December 31st or December 15th of 2025 that generates at least $750 a month in cash flow after all expenses. And for people that don't think that there are deals out there that math out, you need to start looking again, because there are deals that are mathing out on a regular basis now. They're coming more and more and more, but you got to be searching for them. Okay. I just wanted to throw that in there too. Things are penciling out a lot better these days. Or, for example, it doesn't have to be all about real estate. Okay. I want people to actually have a well-balanced approach to their goals. By May 15th of 2025, I will lose 15 pounds by achieving a 500 calorie deficit daily. by reducing calorie intake and increasing physical activity, enabling a steady weight loss of 1 pound a week. Okay. So we can't just say, I want to lose weight, or I want to buy that 5-plex. You got to be a lot more specific and smart about it. So when you can write goals like these, it gives you a much better chance of achieving them. And it does take practice, because a lot of people aren't used to writing them out smart. Even some of our best students and clients need a little bit of help when it comes to SMART goals. So screenshot this screen, the slide that's up here right now, so that you have just some reference points of how to write out SMART goals. And here's the next one.
Oh, but wait, Kory. But wait. For those of you who are going to hang out with us till the end, honestly, we are going to share with you guys a resource that will help you, because the resource outlines, there's only so much room we can fit on the slide, guys, but we've got, I can't remember how many pages, maybe 4 or 5 page document that actually is going to share with you and outline how to break this down in detail. So yeah, so hang tight, take those screenshots. Yeah, take those, for sure. Yeah, take those screenshots, but then we're also going to share more information with you guys.
Love it. Thanks for mentioning that, Danielle. We're going so fast, guys. We appreciate your attention and your grace. Here's one about flipping. Okay. I want to close on a flip by the end of April within a 45-minute drive of my house. That will net me a $40,000 profit after all expenses. And I want to list that property on the market to sell by September 30th. Okay. So I'd love to see and hear some of your goals. So throw them in the chat. What are you working on here in 2025? We'd love to know. Most people are probably not going to see each other, outside of this this webinar. So don't be afraid to be a little bit vulnerable. That's something we usually throw on that slide on how to get the best return on your investment. Be present, be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to share. I know we can be very proud and a little bit holding our cards to our chest sometimes, but the more that you actually put the cards on the table, then it's amazing how much more people can actually help you when they know what you're trying to work on. Okay. But if it's your own little secret, how can we actually help you? Everybody's help made at the end of the day. Self-made is definitely a fallacy. We're all help made. There's nobody that ever got to the top by themselves. All right. So we're in that first D. All right. We're in the design process. We got to create that plan. So we're going to go from goal to task. But we don't want to skip too many steps. Too many people will go from like dreaming to doing. There's got to be that piece in between. The very important piece of the sandwich is the design process. We got to break it down a bit more. We got to chunk it down, because when it's too big, we don't know how to go. We can't eat that elephant in one bite, but when we can actually segment it, silo it out a little bit, because lots of times our goal is going to have different sub projects within it. We got to make sure that we're breaking it down appropriately. Okay. So goals, projects, milestones, and tasks. We're going to give you some examples of what this looks like here tonight. So your goal is going to be your North Star for the rest of the quarter or the rest of the year. And remember, it's all about the destination. Actually, isn't it the other way around, Danielle? It's all about the journey, not necessarily the destination.
No. Sorry. Okay. So
we're going on an adventure.
Yeah, we're going on an adventure. Okay. So here's the thing, guys. When Kory and I build slides together, it's a lot of fun, because he puts his thoughts, I put my thoughts, but we don't necessarily communicate them together. And so when he's presenting on something that I've written, so the goal is your destination. Okay. It's only where you're going to end up. It's not your journey. What we're helping you out here right now is defining the journey to get to your goal. Right. And most people think of their goal and they just think of that. So when you think about climbing Mount Everest, you don't look at the top and only focus at the top. You're actually going to break it down into chunks. You're going to break it down into, you start at base camp if you're doing that, but then there's like different camps that you're going to hit along the way. And all you're doing when you're waking up in the morning and you're packing up your gear is you're thinking of making it to the next camp. You're not thinking of making it to the top, because if you think about making it to the top, it's going to be overwhelming, and you're just not even going to go, because you're not going to even believe that you can get there. And a lot of times with our goals, we think we're not going to be able to get there. So when you break it down and you plan it out into a journey or an adventure, like Kory says, then you're able to see that, it's about the journey, guys. right? It's about making it your own, and you have full control of that journey and how you're going to get there. And so we're going to break these goals down for you, show you how to break your goals down. And so then that way you're not looking at the top and saying, yeah, that's just not going to happen, right? We don't want you to be overwhelmed. We want you to break this down. So yeah, I did write it the right way, Kory, but unless it's explained to you, it's really hard for you to understand because you're not in my head. So sorry about that.
There you go. No, it's all good. It's all good. And Danielle likes to keep the points short, so we can't we don't have a lot of information on the slide, which I think is important. Just keep it really short and sweet. And I'm just really excited, guys. We have resources and we have things to help the community here. We're going to talk about at the end of the presentation. You know, we don't in life. I don't think people should have to take the slow scenic journey to get to places. Let's get you there on a fast track. All right. And a lot of real estate investors are actually held back by capital. That's the number one reason that just keeps coming up for people time and time again, why they can't get into their next property. They don't know how to grow. They can't get started. We actually have something that can help out with that a little bit towards the end of the presentation here, but let's get back on track. So choosing that goal, making sure it's smart. Here's some examples of some weaker goals. Like I mentioned before, I just want to make more money. As opposed to I want to increase my net worth by $25,000 through 2 new real estate acquisitions by December 31st. Okay, so that's like a higher level goal. And then we can actually break it down into, well, what are those 2 acquisitions going to be? And what are the different projects and milestones and tasks that we need to do to get there? Okay, so this is the example that we're actually going to use on the presentation here tonight. I want to find and close on a 6-bedroom student house in Guelph, Ontario, within 600 meters from the university, that has a $700 to $900 positive cash flow by April 30th. And just a little ninja, tip here: Guelph is over 1,000 units behind just for students right now. So if you're looking for that next student property, it is a great city to be searching in. Throw it in the chat if anybody here invests in Guelph, Ontario. I know it's a little bit more expensive price point city, but student rentals are definitely something that will cash flow a little bit better. You're just getting a better price per room. All right, so now the next step is we got to break that goal into projects. So super high level, there would be more projects in this goal that we just mentioned on the previous page. But for time's sake and for simplicity's sake, we just wanted to show you 3. There might be like 6 or 7 or 8 different projects that you would need to break this down into, but you're going to need to get the down payment. Like, you need the money. It doesn't necessarily have to be your own money in real estate, but you need money to transact. You'll need to get approved for financing. Okay, at the end of the day, whether it's you or a partner that gets approved for the financing is irrelevant. It's just going to be the split and the percentage of how much you own of that property. And then you obviously need to find and close on the property. Okay, so these are the different projects. So we're just trying to teach you how to start thinking in these methodologies so you can take any goal, any ambition, anything that you're dreaming about, and break it down successfully, and then task it out and delegate it out so that you can actually go and achieve them by the end of the year. So now that we have the projects, we need to break them down into milestones. So milestones are going to be a collection of the tasks that will help you get to that end result. And you got to give yourself a deadline for these different milestones, okay? Because now we're getting a little bit more granular. If you don't start giving yourself timelines and deadlines, you're going to miss the mark, okay? Things are going to just start to drift and expand, like I talk about, right? Parkinson's law. The task will expand to the amount of time that you give it. If you don't give yourself a deadline, who's ever started a project that they'd never finished before? Like, I'm guilty of that as well. Okay, there's lots of things that I've started and I haven't finished. Number one, because I haven't gotten the right team behind me. I didn't set a deadline. I wasn't accountable to it. I didn't have other people holding me accountable to it. I didn't chunk it down enough. All right. So everybody definitely has lots going in their life, but if you are actually committed to the end result, because commitment is so important. If you actually think of the definition of commitment, I believe it's from a Greek term, right? Commit. You're literally like cutting off all other options. And if your goal is that important, you're going to commit to it. And it's okay, you're going to fall off the horse once in a while, but you can always get up the next day and recommit to it, recommit to it, recommit to it. And it's people that fall off the horse and get back on enough times they'll actually get there. This is not going to be easy. Any goal worth achieving is not easy, gang, but you can definitely get there with the right methodology and chunking it down here. So you got to have milestones. in your goals. So here's an example, right? We want to secure that down payment. Well, what are some of the milestones that we got to do to secure that down payment? You got to secure your capital partner. So it's more high level. The milestones, if you want to make a note, just remember milestones are more high level. We got to raise the funds from maybe 8.
Yeah, sorry, Kory, I just want to clarify, like the milestones, guys, it's not as deep as a project, but it is a collection of tasks that you have to complete in order to get that milestone done. And so when you're looking at the example here that we talked about, that's on the ribbon at the bottom, find a 6-bedroom student rental in Guelph within 600 meters of the university that's going to cash flow $700 to $900 a month in positive cash flow by December 31st, then, you know, we had our 3 projects was securing the down payment, securing the financing, securing the property. Well, those are your big projects. Those are your big rocks. Also something that a lot of people resonate with, right, Kory? We talk about big rocks. Well, when you're talking about securing the down payment, which is your big rock, which is a project, then how do you break that down into a milestone? So a milestone might be securing a capital partner because you need the down payment. Maybe you don't have the cash, so you need to secure that. So where is it? So one of the milestones might be securing a capital partner. It could also be a milestone of raising the funds from angel investors. Maybe you're going to talk to your parents and they're going to tap into that HELOC. Or maybe it's a JV partner. Maybe you have a sibling that wants to invest with you and they have half of the down payment, right? And so you're going to go and talk to them and maybe they're like, yeah, we'll do this with you. So securing the down payment is the project, but there's going to be different milestones in order to make that project come to fruition. We're going to further break down the milestones into tasks. Okay. So just understand a milestone is a collection of tasks to get that milestone complete. Okay. So if you're looking at the second project in our example on the 6-student rental, which was securing financing, how do you take that second project of your goal and break that down into a milestone? Well, you need to vet and choose a mortgage broker. So what we tell our students is go out there and speak to at least 3 mortgage brokers. Then you got to speak to well, first you got to find them, get their contact information. Then you got to call them. Then you got to book an appointment. You got to show up on the appointment. You got to have an interview with them. Maybe there's a follow-up call. So there's quite a few tasks, things that are going to be within that specific milestone. But even just getting a mortgage broker is a big chunk of things that you need to do, a series of tasks that you need to do in order to accomplish that. So I just want to check in with you guys here. Do you understand the difference between like what the project is the big rock, the milestone is different things you need to do within that big rock, but the milestones all have tasks within them. Does that make sense? Say yes or no in the chat. If you're lost, say no. If you get it, say yes, just so that I know we can move on. I just want to make sure it's really important here, guys, that you understand where we're going with this. Because when you're breaking down your goals, you really need to understand how to get through it. So yeah, so I'm seeing some comments coming in here. Everybody's saying yes. Susanna, Jace, George, and oh, you guys, there's so many yeses. I can't even, Caitlin, yeah. Marshall, Hong, everybody's saying yes.
Love
awesome.
it.
All right. And then I think there's another, we also did the third project there, Kory, if you want to pick it up. Sorry, I kind of like really dove in there. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, totally important for sure. And then the third portion, like the milestone for the third project would be finding the investment. All right. So you want to vet and secure your realtor. They're a key person on your power team that's going to get you the leads and the insights, especially if they're connected in the industry. And can't speak enough, their gang of working with like investor friendly power team members. And, you know, we talk about finding a mortgage broker or a realtor, like life is too short to work with with like B and C players. So make sure you're working with A players. So important. Write that one down. Okay. Life is too short to work with B and C players. You got to work with A players in the industry, and you deserve it too. And they have the bandwidth to take you on these days for sure. So build out that criteria for the realtor. underwrite at least 10 properties per week. Okay, you got to put in the reps, you got to put in the numbers. These things aren't just going to fall into your lap either, right? So those are just some examples of milestones in the design process. Now, getting to tasks, this is something that people are going to be a little bit more familiar with, right? But if you skip too many of the steps, if you skip the project and you skip milestones, if you just go from like goal to tasks, it's like, oh my gosh, like now you have a list of like 150 tasks and you got to go back and fix it and put it into projects and milestones so that your brain can actually make sense of it, right? Because it's just going to be thinking like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5, and it gets overwhelmed. Throw some numbers in the chat with how many things your brain can actually focus on before it kind of short circuits and shuts down on you. And I'll give you a really easy analogy of why this is true. But yeah, you got to break your task down. Let me know, Danielle, some of the numbers that people are throwing in there. How many things can your brain focus on before it really, really starts to shut down? Okay, before we can't even memorize the sequence anymore. What do people think? You can definitely memorize more than 1 or 2, but breaking things down into tasks. You might even need subtasks.
Yeah, I think there's a delay here, Kory. Sorry. So
no
we got
worries,
Marshall said 1, Chuck said 1 at a time. Yeah, I think that with all the different streams that we have, like on all the different platforms, I think there's a bit of a delay. But
it's all good. It's all good. It's great that we're on all these different platforms. So
I think some people are thinking it's a trick question and don't want to answer.
No. Well, for people that are old like Danielle and I, can people remember when phone numbers used to be 7 digits? I used to be able to remember everybody's phone number, but then when they switched it to 10 digits, you know, cell phones probably didn't help, but it all of a sudden became a lot more difficult. And plus they're adding more area codes to actually remember people's phone numbers. So the highest typically you can go is like 7 before your brain starts to shut down. That's why you got to have these subcategories, right? You got to put in different silos. So then your brain can actually process it a lot easier. And it becomes a lot more achievable too. And it's like, hey, I'm crushing these projects. I'm checking them off. I'm getting through the different milestones and the different phases of the project because I'm actually doing this properly, right? So your tasks are going to be the really granular, like, you know, get the documents that I got to send to the broker, create an online drive. Maybe it's even like pick the online drive I'm going to choose and then actually sign up for it and get it going. Like get all the documents. Specifically, I need my NOA. I need my other mortgage statements. I need my previous tax return. Scan and save them into the drive. Email that broker, get the conversation started. So lots of times things are stalled out just on one task. Okay. So if you ever need to get things going again, just go, what is that one task that would just kickstart things going again for me, right? And spend time in your different projects so that you can get them going. Sometimes you do have to work them in tangent so you can actually get everything to the finish line in time.
So you mentioned something there, Kory. I wanted to jump in quickly. You might have, like you said, even just getting the online drive. If you don't have an existing drive, then you might have several, and it's usually only maybe 3 or 4, but you might have subtasks to these tasks. So depending on how deep you want to go, guys, we're talking 4 layers deep here. You've got your goal, you break it down to projects, break down the projects into milestones, and those milestones are a grouping of tasks, okay? And so when you're doing that, you can go 5 layers deep with subtasks, but be very careful that you get too granular because now you're just gonna like really have a massive list, okay? The task should be something that you can do within 20 minutes to 60 minutes. It shouldn't be any longer than that. If it takes longer than that, you're gonna have to break it down, okay? So yeah, exactly, Susanna. Tasks can feel overwhelming, so you're gonna wanna break that down. If it's anything that's over an hour and you're like, you don't get started, then you need something that's even smaller than that. And so I did a lot of training on this, and even for myself, if it's something that's going to take me an hour, because it's hard for me to find a solid hour in my day, I need to break it down into maximum 30-minute chunks. So I can't, to the point that Kory was talking about with an online drive, I can't pick an online drive and set it up. Those have to be separated for me. So let me go and do some research and pick the drive. And then once I know what drive I want, my next task, I'm going to walk away from my computer or jump on another meeting or make a phone call. And then my next task on that milestone is going to be set up that account. And so, and it's like, that's how it works for me. So I want you guys to understand that the tasks need to be really granular, but only as granular as you need it to work for you. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense for everybody.
Yes, for sure. I agree. Even like, 15 to 30 minutes, like if it's going to go longer than that, it just seems too overwhelming and we just won't get it started. Right. And sometimes there's little tricks you can do. Let's say if you got to write somebody if you got to compose a complicated email, we'll start sending out some easy emails first, get your fingers moving, and then, something in motion likes to stay in motion, then you can go and focus on that. But set a timer. We got some strategies for people here in the next coming slides, but so I won't spoil it, but make sure you definitely have your projects, your milestones, and your tasks organized. Give yourself deadlines, but also give yourself some grace. Like, don't make the deadline so challenging that you're going to keep missing it, and get discouraged. Maybe give yourself a little bit of extra time every time, so you can be like, haha, I just beat the deadline, right? And try to finish it early. So being proactive versus reactive, the whole process tonight of actually planning and dreaming and designing is to get you more in that proactive state of mind. Okay. And don't forget to delegate when you can. All right. If we have big goals and we want to accomplish big things in 2025, we're going to need to engage and bring in some extra help onto the team. And just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should be doing everything. You want to be spending the majority of your time in your superhero like talent or superhero power, right? And if you're trying to do absolutely everything yourself, you're going to do really good at the things you're great at, and you're going to get really bogged down by the things that you're not. And then that whole flywheel is going to stop. So make sure that you're bringing people on the team, not being afraid to ask for help, not being afraid to pay for a little bit of help is super important. So here's some task management software that can definitely help you. We were actually curious when this slide came up, like, what are people using out there? What is there anything on this that we've forgotten that we got AnyDo, we got Airtable, we got Notion, Asana, Trello, Podio, Monday.com, ClickUp. What are some task management software that you're using these days? Let us know. Here's a few other ones. We actually designed this whole workshop on Mind Manager. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's just awesome when you can just start to skeleton things out and you get used to using it. There's also Lucid Charts, Simple Mind. But what do people actually use for like brainstorming and skeleting things out? And don't be afraid to like, hey, some of these things might have a membership to it, right? But you can only get so far with free. That's for sure. Let me know, Danielle, if you see any
There's
other
some stuff, yeah.
in
So
the chat.
kind of sharing. There's Google Sheets and Asana here. We've got Nifty. We've got Chuck with Google Calendar, which, by the way, use your calendar, guys. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But Smart Sheet, that's a new one for me. ClickUp, yeah, we had that on the list. AnyDo is a great task manager, guys. And in AnyDo, that's the one that I started using at the top of the list. And let me tell you guys the ones that we use in our company now. But AnyDo was nice because I could have a task and then create subtasks within it. And it was, it was just, I really enjoyed that one. And it worked really well with my assistant. So, but now
Slack could be on here for sure too.
Yeah, Slack too. But now because the team's bigger, AnyDo doesn't work so well. So if you go back to that list there, Kory, we've got Notion we use in our company right now. We use Airtable. We use was it Asana that we just, no, it wasn't Slack. Slack is the one that we just started using with a third-party provider. So there's all kinds out there, guys. What's important is that you find one that you like, that resonates with you. There's no good ones or bad one. Well, I guess you could, it's subjective, but it's typically good or bad for you, okay? You either resonate and you like the look and feel of it and it's giving you what you need, or it doesn't. And don't try to stay in one because, you know, your friend is using this one, or Danielle and Kory said this is the one to use. We say this is the one we use, but you may not like it. So you need to test it out. So make sure you go in there and give it a try too. Like a lot of times with these software, there's a learning curve. Give it a fair shot before you give up on it, okay? And just keep coming back to it. Ian is using Notion. Notion is great for more advanced stuff. And so, yeah. And then if you go to the other one, Mind Manager, we use for a lot. Yeah. So these are like, I like these to brain dump and organize your thoughts. So we use Mind Manager here internally so that we can brain dump and then organize things. So in fact, one of the things that we use My Managers to set up these resources for you guys. So we organize all of our thoughts, and even this presentation, we organize all of our thoughts so that it can be cohesive when we're done with it. So anyway, just want to tell you guys, when it comes to software, you need to give it a fair shot, but don't stay longer if you really don't like it. Kory.
Big time. Yeah, if you guys saw the saw this presentation, it's literally hundreds of little reference points and like the spider web that all came into effect. And thanks, shout out to our remote staff who helped us put this together here tonight, so we can look brilliant and do what we do best, right? So, but you got to live out of your calendar, and that means incorporating planning. So don't finish your night without bookmarking it. Okay, so finish the night, make sure your next day is planned. You don't want to be waking up, getting out of bed and don't have a plan for how you're going to go achieve your goals. Okay. Or even start your day job. Like, that's just not a way to live life, and that urgent mindset all the time. Sunday is a great time to just, it's slow, it's quiet, plan out the next week, plan out the next 2 weeks, start thinking further into the future. A lot of people are planning out their entire year, right? Go put in those big rocks into your calendar, and all like the time is going to happen anyways, right? So you might as well intentionally design your calendar to put all these big, goals and projects and milestones in there, as well as have fun. Okay. And you got to incorporate different parts of your life into your calendar too. So projecting into the future, some people call that telescoping, but you really got to block and tackle. Like, you got to protect your calendar too, right? You got to be used to saying no to different things that are going to encroach on that time that might prevent you from actually accomplishing your goals. And what a lot of people do is they'll literally fill up every single minute of the day, and they don't have any buffer time in there in case things happen. And I don't know, throw something in the chat if like things happen to you on an hourly basis. Yes, there's going to be things that get dropped in your lap that you just got to deal with and play hot potato with sometimes. Okay. So I find that like 75% of your calendar and having 25% buffer is good until you actually have a lot of support and like literally an executive assistant on your team, but you got to have buffer time. This is the billionaire quadrant, guys and gals, and it's actually the Eisenhower decision-making matrix. So if you see this, I wish I could zoom in on this. I don't know if this helps or if I can zoom in. Did that just zoom in?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So it's this matrix, right? Things that are not important versus important, and urgent versus not urgent. You want to be in the important but not urgent, right? This upper right-hand quadrant of deciding. This is proactivity, this is planning, this is relationship making or building on, right? Maintenance, that is the best quadrant to be in. That's where the wealthiest people play, and that's where we want to see you in here too. Work on the urgent milestones, important but not urgent. Okay, and then just ongoing, right? Task management is critical. We've given you some tools and mentioned previously. You can also use a Pomodoro timer or app on your phone. Work for 20 minutes, give yourself a 5-minute break, repeat that 3-4 times. When you get into a longer work session, these are things that you can also get up early and do while the world is quiet. A lot of people are waking up at 4:35, 5:30, so they can actually get a lot done before work actually starts if you have a day job. But doing those 60 to 90-minute focus work sessions, if you're going to be doing that throughout the day, if you're self-employed or if you have control of your calendar, then make sure you're giving yourself a little bit of a break in between. Okay, you cannot work straight for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours without a break. Give yourself a little breaks, and you'll actually find that you'll be able to go longer throughout the day. The Army actually uses this methodology, and I do too. Just some other other things here that can really help. So ongoing, pick up some books like Deep Work. Okay, it actually talks about your ability to focus is actually what's going to separate you from average and extraordinary. Okay, do you want to be average? Do you want to be below average, or do you want to be extraordinary? You got to learn how to focus. Get used to putting your phone on airplane mode, turning off notifications. And if you want to produce high quality work, it's this simple formula here. The time spent times the intensity of your focus. Okay, intensity matters, gang. If you approach your goals with low intensity, low effort, you're going to get low results. If you have high focus, high effort, high energy, high emotion towards them, you're fighting for them every single day like tooth and nail, you're going to be able to achieve them a lot more. So it's amazing what you can accomplish with focus. So in conclusion here, gang, we got a lot of things here to recap on, but follow the 3 steps. Don't skip steps. With every goal, there's going to be a big ask of you that's required, okay? So, in the Think and Grow Rich, right? So those SMART goals, you also have to write down what you're willing to sacrifice or what you're willing to put in for effort to be able to accomplish them. You need to break them down so you can avoid overwhelm. Make sure that you're going to actually hit them. Just remember, you can't do everything. Don't be afraid to get better at delegating, gang. This is something I'm getting better with all the time, and I'm in my late 40s. So by the time you actually need help, it's already too late. And the more you know your personality, the more that you'll just realize that there's going to be roles that you don't possess and you should be hiring out for them. Live out of that calendar, like we mentioned. Throw some of your takeaways actually into the chat here too, but have accountability. One of the number one reasons why people don't achieve their goals, they don't have anybody to be accountable to. They don't have a supportive network. So on our follow-up email to this, we're actually going to send you the link to our WhatsApp community. We'd love if you joined. And every time we do an event, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So please join our community. We like to post relevant topics. It's not a pitch fest in there. It's not a self-promoting kind of a group. We want to make sure it's a high quality group where people are getting the encouragement, the support that they need. If you need resources, if you need a person, a contact, just throw it in the group. We're here to elevate everybody in the group. So don't be afraid to celebrate those smaller weekly wins on the way to the larger goal, and start a done list. Okay. Don't throw out your to-do list and things like that. Actually review them and look back. I keep all my lists, right? And I was just looking back at a list from like 3 years ago. I'm like, wow, can't believe that that's what I was focused on 3 years ago. We've come so far. And just such a great quote here. A goal without a plan is just a dream. So now that you have the methodology, you have a lot of power, right? And with that power, you'll be able to follow through. So we're kind of curious here, everybody. What did you like about the webinar? What new takeaways do you have here? Definitely make sure that you're committing to a short list of new habits here in 2025. It's not just the tasks and the projects and the milestones and the goals, but it's all held together with habits, accountability, and discipline. And many times people might try to take on too much in the beginning. Okay, you can ramp it up, but if you try to do too much all at once, you'll just blow yourself up too. So focus on a few key goals, a few key habits, and get really good at those before you start adding more and more and more here in 2025 or beyond.
And I just want to say too, Kory, if I can jump in there, it's really important, guys. Like when we started this at the beginning of the hour, we told you to write down 3 goals, but we only asked you to focus on 1. And that was very, very intentional. Because if you're trying to because a goal is a big, big ask. So have 1 goal and get started in that goal, get some momentum, just focus on that one. And then that way you can start feeling like you're getting somewhere. Because if you're trying to do 3 goals and you break them all down, but then you're doing tasks out of 3, and you're just gonna feel like you're spinning your wheels in the mud. Who's felt like that before? Say me. Write me in the chat. And that's a big capital M, capital E for me. Because, I want to do everything and I wanted to do it yesterday. So, but we just need to be a little bit more strategic in how we approach doing the goal so that we can actually start feeling that we're getting somewhere. You get some wind in your sails, and then you have the energy and the momentum and the drive to keep going. So it's really important that you just start with 1, okay? And then the other thing is that, and what Kory was talking about per quarter, you want to revisit your plan every quarter. And I say that lightly because you should actually be looking at it at least once a week, because you want it front and top of mind. And if you write it all down, but then you're not looking at it, because you should be looking at it daily with your tasks and say, what am I going to do today that's going to check something off the box that's getting me closer to my goals? So you should at least be doing 1 task a day on the list of tasks that is getting you closer to your goals. And so when Kory is saying, learn to say no, I don't like no, but you need to learn how to say no. I like to say, I can't right now, or can I find you someone else who can help you? Because I don't like saying no to people. So it's the same thing though. Ultimately, it's the same result where you're not the one that's constantly feeding other people, but you're not feeding yourself. So you do have to don your own mask and keep the oxygen flowing into your body so that you can continue to pour into others. So make sure that you're doing things for yourself every day, getting you closer to your goals so that you can keep moving forward, but review them quarterly. Okay. You should be looking at them daily, but review them quarterly so that you make sure you're still on track, because you're always going to need to do adjustments. And if you really want to be aggressive about it, you can review them monthly or weekly, but at least quarterly. Okay. So it's really important for that. And yeah, and like Jace is writing here, he has to learn how to establish healthy boundaries. And that's a great way to put it. Healthy boundaries is really important. It's really important. So yeah, George is saying weekly Sunday hashtag weekly Sunday strategy session. I love that. And you know, having that as part of your calendar and your weekly task. I did that too. Sundays, I would plan out my week. I've gotten away from it, and now's a new year and I should get back to doing it, but planning out your week. So find things that work for you guys to set yourself up for success. But what is important is that you break down these goals into a plan, a list of tasks that you can focus on, and now you've got direction. Okay. And then you can go from there. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Whoop, whoop. Say yes in the chat if you guys are still with me. I've got Mark, been using the 5-5 method for procrastination. Start in 5 seconds and do it in 5 minutes. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, and you're either, you know, when you're reviewing your goals on a weekly basis, you're either, there's not too many options, right? There's like 3. You're either on track, off track, or ahead of track. Okay, so story doesn't fit in any other boxes. There's no gray. So that's the good thing about when you're really clear and you're holding yourself accountable. You're either on track, off track, or ahead of track. And then what can you do to get back on track?
All right, Kory.
So who wants a freebie, or who wants some things here? Who wants some stuff?
do we have the
like
QR code in the slides? Is it there?
I saw something at the end. Yep. So
yeah. Okay. All right.
But before we give you guys anything for free, we're going to ask you to, to fill out a little bit of a survey for it. This is going to be fun. So, but just remember, guys, we have a bit of an offer for people here too, that 2Xing your goals lots of time is actually more difficult than 3, 5, 10Xing things, because you can actually 2X things on your own. You're just going to have to get up earlier, work harder, burn more of that midnight oil, but it's actually not healthy. So don't be afraid to think bigger and then actually add people onto your team. And we've just found that so many people resist it because, number one, it might be too expensive. Number 2, they don't really have a methodology to it. Number 3, they just like the work ethic, I'm sad to say, in North America is declining. So we're actually doing an awesome training on February 21st. Danielle's designing it. It's about hiring your first remote employee. Okay, we don't like to use the term VA. Most people relate to VA. That's why it's on the screen right now. But having a remote employee from different parts of the world can really, really help you, and it's a game changer. So after hiring close to 24 VAs and within Strategic Success Consulting here, we really have a proven process that we want to share with you. All right. And we can't just cover it in another hour-long webinar. It's going to be a little bit longer. We're going to have to rent some meeting space. There will be a nominal fee cost for that, but it's 110% worth it. Okay. So get the help that you need to increase your productivity and take the things off your list that don't make you the income that you're looking for. Okay. Super important.
How awesome would it be to be able to take your vision, share it with someone, and they can implement it for you? Because that's what I do. And it's absolutely amazing. There's no way that Kory and I could do what we do every day and have speak so many times on stage as we do, present and give so much to the community the way that we do. Because even building out these presentations, we once kind of sat down and said, okay, doing a presentation of a 30 to 60-minute presentation, how long of my life does that take? And we averaged it out about 8 hours just to come up with building out the slides, the content, the slides, driving, doing the presentation, driving back. And so it's minimum 8 hours of our life to do that. But it's not our life anymore because now we're leveraging somebody else's time to help us with that process. And so a lot of the tasks within that too, though, is things that maybe we don't enjoy doing or is not the highest and best use of our time. And so when you're hiring remote employees that can help you scale, then you can get more done in a day and you can get your goals faster. And we've seen that happen since Kory and I came together and we started building a team together. Now we're seeing that happen over the last 2 years. We are just increasing what we do exponentially every day. And we're getting efficiencies within how we communicate with the team. The team is an awesome, strong team. If we have a weak player, we just rinse and repeat and bring in somebody new. So that's the benefit of actually learning how to hire effectively and being able to train them and onboard them. So this training on the Friday, the 21st of February is going to help you be able to, from start to finish, right from the hiring process to get the ad, put the ad, know where to put it, interview, onboard, and train for success, because you don't want to take the time to do all of that, guys, and then do it with the wrong person, because now you got to start all over again. And it's really frustrating. But we've done very well with our team, and we can identify key players based on our system that we're going to pull the curtains back for you and share with you exactly how we do that. Sorry, Kory, just kind of really, yes, Ali. So Ali asked, will it be offered only in person? So this is the beautiful part, as painful as it is, Ali, for me to learn tech. There's a reason why I'm going through this painful process, because we want to be able to offer it virtually as well. So it's not only in person, it's absolutely in person and online. So we did our last masterclass. We streamed it just like this. It's exactly like this. We streamed it. So anybody who registered for the masterclass had the option of doing it in person or virtually. And essentially everything that we do that you register for, we email it to you. Well, we don't email it to you. So we do the record, because we record everything that we do. And then we create a member portal for you on our website. And then you can always go back and watch the recording as well. So if you get distracted, because you're at home with kids, and I know Kory's right now at home with his kids. So, so if you see Kory a little bit distracted tonight,
thank goodness for Netflix and Disney and everything else they're watching right now. Yeah.
So just want to also put it out there, guys. We are doing our masterclass on February 23rd and 22nd, 23rd. So it's the Saturday and Sunday, following the VA. By the way, if you buy the masterclass for all about raising capital and lending, so private lending, so it's all about capital, guys. We're going to do one day on private lending, 1 day on raising capital. And what'll happen is we're going to give you the hiring a remote employee for free. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. If you guys want to join us, we haven't released it yet. All you need to do is make sure you download the resource for free. Then you'll be on our mailing list and we'll send it to you. The other way to do that is follow us on social media, or you can also follow us on Eventbrite. So you get all the notifications of upcoming events and you can see what we're putting out there. We're very content heavy and pitch poor. So we don't really, we just want to pour into the community here, guys. We know what real estate can do and change lives, and we want to make sure that we offer that to everybody else in the community.
Exactly, guys. We want to make sure that people actually walk away and say, you know what, I really know how to do this now, right? People are walking out of our flip masterclass, or our property management masterclass, or our land development masterclass, or construction management masterclass, going like, holy cow, I actually got a playbook here I can actually start to work and run with, right? That's what we want. There are, things out there that sometimes you go to attend and you just feel like it's a big famboozled, like I came out more confused than I did, but I certainly saw their sales presentation 10 times throughout the whole thing. That's not what we want to do. So Danielle, have you thought about an offer? Are you feeling generous tonight? What are we doing for people here?
I actually don't even know. I don't know. I think you finished these slides. I don't know. I just want to say too, Kory, real quick, because Susanna asked for the WhatsApp group link. We do have a WhatsApp community, guys. If you want to join, I just posted it in the chat. So you can always, if you, and I apologize for the noise there, guys. If you can, if you can't see the link here or you can't click it, because we got people coming in on so many different platforms, and this is the first time we've gone across all these platforms. Just
how many are we on tonight? I think 8.
I think we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and StreamYard 8. Yeah, I think it's 8. Wow. Yeah, so if you guys want to, if you want to join and you can't share the link or you can't click on the link, all you got to do is just shoot us a DM and we'll send it back to you that way. Okay. So we definitely want to have you guys in the community, because we do believe in the power of community and support. And especially because these are like-minded people, they get you. If you try to lean into with what you're doing in real estate, investing in business with the people in your inner circle in your everyday life, they're not going to get you. So it's really important that you find your tribe outside of that so that you can have that kind of support. Okay, sorry, back to the offer. Kory just kind of hijacked you. And
hey, it's all good.
We're running over time, so we need to I think we skipped the survey.
No worries. Yeah. No worries. So I actually didn't put an offer in, so I wasn't sure what you wanted to do. You want to think of it on the fly here, Danielle? What have we done before in the past?
Okay, so if you guys want an offer for the masterclass, then this is what you guys need to do. You need to go to our socials. You need to shoot us a DM and say, can you just write, I'm interested in the masterclass, and we'll share with you, because we didn't put it together. Clearly, this was a miss on my part. So just again, shoot a DM to me or Kory, and we will give you, drum roll. I don't know. What do you want to give them, Kory? 20, 25%, 10? What are you feeling?
I think 25 would be very generous. So we want to get everybody off to a great start.
Yes. Let's kick off 2025 to a great start. I love how you're thinking, Kory. Yeah. So we'll do 25%. Oh, so yeah. So we'll do that. And then, yeah, so we'll do that. And then we'll make sure you guys can get into the masterclass for a nice deep discount there, guys. That's almost $100 in savings. And if you go to the masterclass, you'll get the remote employee hiring system, absolutely free, which we are selling that separately, but we'll give it to you absolutely free. So that much I did know we were doing. All right.
There you go. And you know what, guys? Danielle's going to kill me here, but for the first 3 people that sign up, we'll let you guys bring a friend. Okay. She's going to kill me tomorrow, but
Kory.
we'll give you guys a BOGO.
Kory always wants to do BOGO. Okay. So for those of you that are still on the call, and then we're going to give you the lead magnet here next, and then we're done. Sorry for we're over time by 10 minutes. We started 10 minutes late. We would have been right on time here, Kory. But here's the download, guys. There is the link in the chat, and I highly encourage you guys to download that. It has everything that we talked about in detail. Plus, I've got for you a breakdown of a mind map of a goal and how I use it in mind map and what it would look like, so you guys can visually see it. And then in the mind map, it takes you when you're working from left to right, your right list is all of your to-do list. It's just absolutely beautiful. But anyway, take a look at it and make sure you download it. So if you're on your phone, you're gonna have to go to the comments and download click on the link to download it. If you're watching,
little ninja tip, take a screenshot of this, and then you can actually do it from a different phone or your partner's phone or something like that. You can eventually get it that way.
Yeah, that could work too. See, that is a ninja tip. So yeah, so BOGO, back to BOGO. Quick story. Kory always wants to do BOGO, and I don't. I always feel like if you're gonna pay for it for full price and then you bring a friend for free, you kind of get shafted. So I'm not a big fan of BOGO. So, okay,
Have
but
your friend pay for half. They got to get some skin in the game.
that works. That works really well. So I like that. Anyhow, but guys, if you want to join us at the masterclass, so just to be clear, because we're talking really fast here, Kory, what is it? They got to DM us that they want to come to the masterclass, and how do they get the BOGO?
Just let us well, obviously have the sign up link. So
yeah. So if you guys want to come, I think you said the first 3, but it's going to be hard for us to quantify the first 3. So anybody who wants to come, we'll give you a BOGO. Make it nice and simple. So if you guys want to come, make sure you DM us. If you DM us Thrive in 25, so we know that you came from the masterclass, and then we'll give you that link to the BOGO. Okay. All right. That's it. Do we want to do questions? Anybody have any questions? We are over time, so we want to be mindful for time here. But let's say we'll take the first 3 questions. If anybody has questions about the dream, design, and do process that we outlined for you guys here tonight, especially on the design part. The big problem here, guys, is that people always try to go from dream to do, and that's where you fail because you didn't design the plan. Okay, so it's really important that you come up with the plan so that you don't go from being at base camp at Mount Everest and looking at the top and don't know how you're going to get there. Okay. All right. Oh, so we've got Marshall sent us. Marshall's just making sure he gets that link. He sent it to both of us, Kory. Yeah, we'll get you the code. We'll get you a discount code, Marshall. Awesome. Anybody else have any questions? Susanna says, thank you. You're very welcome, Susanna. And that's it, guys. I think we can.
No questions? Nobody wants to know the meaning of life? We're here to pour in.
The meaning of life. That's deep. We need more than 3 minutes for that. I think, yeah, I think we're over time, Kory. And I think there might be a delay, and we're still getting used to this. So yeah, so we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Kory, thank you so much for sharing those slides with us and taking us home. And thank you to everybody who's on the call. Thank you for your patience with us starting off late. Thank you for going a little long with us. And thank you for trusting us and coming to us for your investing education. That really does mean a lot to us. We know that there's a lot of options out there, and we appreciate everybody who's in our community, and we don't take it for granted. So thank you, thank you, thank you. May I give some love for everybody. All right, guys, until the next webinar, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you.